What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us on the CCA podcast. This is Tonie. I'm doing the intro today.
Doing a pretty good job.
I'm joined by Chris Arechidera.
What's up, guys? How are you?
What's going up, Chris?
Busy. Just coming off a first show, which went pretty well. We had our big announcement or big launch for Star, which went fascinatingly well. I mean, I think you would agree. And just trying to chug along till the next one, Del Mar.
Yeah, for me, it was my first time experiencing the show on the other side of the table, start to finish. So I think it went really well. New booth, new layout, new boat to show off. So I think it went really well. It was a lot of really positive feedback on our booth. So yeah, check us out. We'll be at all the shows this year.
Yeah.
We got 4 more? 5 more?
5 more.
5 more.
I know.
We got 5 more. But anyways, I'm joined by 2. They've become really good friends of mine. I'm here with 2 of the guys from BD Outdoors. We have Ricky and we have Ira. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Well, I know, we've known each other for a while. We actually just went on your guys' podcast. That was epic. Let's get right into it. Let's start with Ricky. Ricky, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and I guess the Ricky story.
Yeah, man. So I am SoCal, born and raised.
Whereabouts?
Orange County.
Okay.
OC.
Yeah, OC. right by Tonie. I got introduced to fishing by my dad maybe when I was like 12 or 13, and we were fishing stock trout ponds, and from there it just kind of grew, and now I'm full-fledged addicted to the sport.
As we all are.
Yeah. It's just comes with a price, but no, I love it, and so I went to graduated from the University of San Diego, and I worked on a Viking kind of operation for a couple of years. I worked on a 60 Viking named Flat Out, and incredibly fortunate to have done that. We got to experience, we did the whole Mag Bay deal and fishing down in Cabo. It was just incredible. I kept telling my boss, I'm like, man, you keep taking me on these once-in-a-lifetime trips, and we do them like every month. It's insane. And that was kind of as our SoCal fishery was in the heat of like this big bluefin kind of deal, and so I learned so much about just how to target these things, because it's not something we had when I was younger. We used to go out and we were stoked if we caught some schoolie yellowfin, and like a 40-pound bluefin would win the jackpot. But anyhow, I started working at BD Outdoors maybe just over 2 years ago, and kind of grown within the organization, and now I am our content director, so I work directly with Ira, and I'll let him talk about kind of what he does. But everything you see on the site, from articles to short-form video, long-form video, client stuff, organic in-house kind of stuff, we kind of ideate and figure out, what we want to show our audience. And this is something we'll get into a little later, but BD has grown from a really forum-based community, and it still is. That's the heart and soul of BD, but it's kind of transitioned into more of a full-fledged media company, which is rad, because it allows us to do such fun projects where we're out on the water in the field, rather than it's not just a bunch of people in an office sitting at a screen all day, which we do our fair share of. But
well, really, over the last couple of years, you really have produced so much great content. Actually, most notably with Tonie Sport Boat Roundups.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, it's taken off.
Yeah, Tonie's been a huge addition to the team, and having stuff like that with Tonie, and people love Eric Landisfiend. We love him as well. He's so knowledgeable, and
now Nate with all the inshore stuff. You guys are getting more inshore content coming out too, which is awesome.
Well, that's huge, and I've to be quite honest, I've never been a huge bass fisherman, but
I thought you were going to say never been a huge fan of Nate. Just kidding.
No, we love Nate. But yeah, so I think it's important, and especially as we kind of see our off season in SoCal is so brutal, right? Like, we really don't have much to do in the way of pelagics, other than maybe your home guard yellows, and the bass fishery is just, it offers opportunity year round, and Ira and his friends are huge bass nerds, which is awesome, and they produce content year round. And so we figured, while BD has been more of an offshore oriented company, like, why not explore these other, because there's such huge potential. There's a ton of anglers who love bass fishing, and
yeah, it's also like there's so many younger anglers that are involved with bass fishing, because like primarily like the offshore audience is an older, more affluent audience, and so as our community grows, encompassing inshore into that really helps create like a younger demographic that we can create content for and like engage with.
For
yeah,
sure.
exactly, and it opens up opportunity, right? Where someone, one of our clients may specialize in inshore baits. Like we just did a shoot with Z-Man product, and we were stoked. We were like, oh, like granted, it's a largely freshwater-based company, but all of that stuff works excellent in the bays, and that was one of the most fun shoots we did.
Oh yeah, I mean their stuff works so well in the bay. So for spotties, halibut, corvina, anything, like we were able to do such an incredible shoot, and we were like at the dock by like 2 p.m.
Nice.
in a full product and stills, video, everything. We were all done. It's super easy to do.
Nice.
At the same time, of course, we're itching to go offshore
Yeah,
and
of course.
hang some kite fish. But yeah, that's kind of what I do with the company. Ira's been a huge addition to our content team. He's done an excellent job, and watching his progression over the past year and the quality of his work is just, it's been really admirable. Honestly, he's crushing it.
I
Nice.
appreciate it, Ricky.
Well, on that note, Ira, what's up, man?
Oh
How's it
man, I'm
going?
good. I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. Yeah, it's I'm stoked to be on this podcast with you guys and kind of talk BD and all that and what we've been up to, because it's been a really fun past. I've probably been with BD a little under 2 years, because I think I came on probably 6 months after Ricky.
Okay.
Yeah, Ira was interning with us for a while. He actually went to USD as well, but I didn't know him at school somehow.
Yeah, we had like a semester, like a year of overlap.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, tell us your story, man.
Yeah, for sure. So unlike Ricky and Tonie, I did not grow up here. So I grew up in Oregon.
Okay.
And so when I got into fishing, it was probably, I was probably like 6 or 7, and it was a lot of trout, stock trout ponds, and then from there into like streams, creeks, stuff like that. Did a little fly fishing, then discovered bass fishing, and so it was all it was primarily smallmouth in the rivers around Oregon, so Columbia River, Willamette River, stuff like that. Got really into bass fishing from there, then found sturgeon fishing, which was like my first time experiencing like a bigger fish, and so we're fishing pretty much tuna tackle for them, because they get like upwards of 400-500 pounds, the really big ones.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
that was it's cool, and it's cool also because it's a super accessible fishery. It's like downtown Oregon, like downtown Portland, there's tons of fish in the like 100 to 200 pound range, which is
No kidding.
absurd. Yeah, you can catch them off the docks there. It's weird. Like if you can figure it out. I have some crazy photos where I'd just like in high school, I'd go after school and fish from like 4 to 8 p.m. and we could catch like 5 or 6 fish. The smallest ones would be 2 to 3 feet long, but then you might get a shot at one that's like 6 feet long. So it's pretty cool, and they're really accessible.
Oh my
which is fun.
gosh.
So that was my first experience with like a bigger like game fish. And so while I was in high school there and starting to look towards college, pretty much the one factor that like informed my college decision was fishing.
Nice.
And so I was like, I want to go to a place with warm salt water.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, I want proper pelagic fish, and so I was looking at Florida and Southern California.
Most college kids that age want to get like out of the cold and into the sun or a
Yeah.
beach town. No, you're looking for fish.
I was like, give me warm saltwater fish. That's at least at the time. That's what I thought. I was like, that would be fun, just from seeing everything on YouTube and stuff like that. And so it was funny actually when I was looking in San Diego and SoCal. Local knowledge was one of the things that I like watched.
Oh yeah.
Which was so wild. And so I went to the University of San Diego, and so I graduated last spring.
Wow! Congratulations.
Cool. Thank
That's
you. I
awesome.
appreciate it. So yeah, then started interning with BD my junior year, and while I was the intern, I wrote a lot of our surf fishing content, inshore content, helped out with the photography and stuff like that. When I graduated, went full time with BD, handled all of our social media as well as photography, and then started getting more into the video side of things. And then just as of kind of the start of this year, took on a new role as the director of marketing. And so now I do pretty much all of our in-house video production, pretty much everything aside from our feature films, like our large long-form content. And then I do audience acquisition. I manage all of our ambassadors, influencers, everything like that. Oversee social media management and kind of marketing strategy.
Sounds like a full plate.
Yeah, it's great because we have a small close knit team, but we're able to accomplish a lot. Our capabilities are really impressive for the size of company that we have, and so I work a lot with Ricky, kind of hand in hand, and it's great because Ricky's able to give me a lot of kind of the direction on content side of things, and then I handle just the shooting, editing, and kind of all the post-production. But it's great being able to work with Ricky because I feel like we take from, like, he has his ideas of how, you know, we can shoot content and deliver content and stuff like that. And then we work together on the execution of it. And so I think we have like a great little content tag team that we're able to accomplish a lot. It's been great.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of like the collaboration that, you know, you guys have shown off over the last, you know, probably year or so, to where it's not just Tonie getting in front of the camera, but it's also you guys too. Because I know I've seen plenty of videos and plenty of content with both of you guys. You know, whether it's a product demo or just, you know, fishery tips or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to be involved. I think, you know, kind of show that who are the faces behind this company, and do they even know about fishing? You know, I think it's important to demonstrate that we know what we're talking about, and by no means are we experts in anything, but if we have some knowledge that might help other anglers, like, of course we're going to share it. And I think we talked about this when you guys came on our podcast, like, you guys deal with the same thing. We're a very small team, and we have just way too much work to do, which is fine, you know, but everyone, yes, has their job role and their description of what they should be doing, but everyone helps out everywhere. Yeah. And that's the only way to really function with a small team. But it is nice, you know, we're all we're coworkers, but we're all friends, and we all love to go fishing together. And we had a team trip on the Grande last year, and it was so much fun. It was a blast. And that was
my favorite chartered trip last year.
Yeah, the fishing was okay, but I mean, everyone knows, like, when you're fishing with your friends, you can't beat it. Yeah, you're gonna have a good time.
And everyone was stoked for each other, and everyone just had such a great time. It was a long day.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a really cooperative trip.
Yeah,
you know, which probably don't see all too often.
Yeah, no.
I think one thing just about, like, the content that we've been doing and being on both sides of the camera, I think the thing that we're shooting for is authenticity, you know? So it's like, I think in the fishing world, in the content world, it's really easy to see content where you can tell the person, you know, is just pushing some product. They don't understand maybe everything about it. And so we really focus on doing authentic content that people can relate to that's actually helpful, you know, and it's not just trying to push or sell something.
Nice. Well, when it comes to content, let's just kind of dive into, first, so to speak, how the sausage is made. When it comes to ideas or content or whatnot, how does that process work within BD to where, you know, if Ira comes up with an idea, does he go to you or vice versa? Or tell us kind of like how that kind of fluctuates.
Yeah, so depending on whether or not, so there's kind of two trains of thought, right? We have our client-based stuff, which is a little more directed as far as, you know, we have certain deliverables that we need to come up with. Right. And it's really in collaboration with the client. Jessie, who handles all of our client relations, she does an excellent job. And then what we'll do is I'll work with Jessie and figuring out exactly what the client's needs are, and then I'll get to ideating with Ira. Honestly, the whole team. We do it as a team. And so whatever our client deliverables are for that specific client, whether it's a boat manufacturer, a tackle manufacturer, or certain baits like Z-Man, we'll figure out exactly what they need and then do our best to, you know, deliver that. And then as far as for our organic stuff, it's just kind of whatever's relevant, right? So if there's a new phase or a new trend in the fishery, we want to get that out ASAP. You know, we want people to know about it. We want people to understand how it works and how are you going to utilize this to the best of your ability to go out and have a good day. Fishing is so expensive, right? Yeah. That if we're spending, you know, hundreds of dollars on gas and thousands of dollars on a boat,
or gear,
yeah, and gear, not
Good
to mention
point.
gear. Yeah, you can go buy a reel and then you spend $100 spooling it, and you go 5 of those. The cost add up quickly.
Yeah,
and the whole point of BD is to kind of educate and inform which I think, we've been doing an excellent job of with the help of Tonie, with the help of Nate, and all of our contributors. We have some excellent contributors, whether you're looking for like seafood recipes, or if you're a kayak fisherman, Morgan Prominence and Howie Stretch he works with Newport now. They've done.
Oh, does he really? Morgan?
No, Howie.
Oh, Howie. Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, Howie?
Yeah, but they're both, for lack of a better word, experts in their field. And there's so many, like Ira was saying, younger kids and young adults and old adults who are in the kayak fishing space, that these guys have so much knowledge to share, and we're just being the platform for them to get that knowledge out to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with various content things, whether it's like Newport or something like that, doing kayak contact. A lot of the recipes we've done this year have been a blast. I mean, it's fun.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we have one of, actually a former member, Michael Friedrich, who now is one of our pro contributors, an incredible chef, specializes in sushi, but just across all different types of cuisine. He's really impressive. And so for one of our clients, we do recipes. And so that's something that we've just had a blast with over the past year, doing all sorts of different recipes. I know Ricky now, it's like a staple. All these recipes we do, it's now a staple in his own personal cooking.
Nice.
Oh, it is. I mean,
Yeah,
I take it home with me for sure, and a lot of people don't know. So circling back to BD historically being founded as like a forum-based company,
Right.
I think there's still a lot of people that don't really know that we have a full other side of the company, which is our content, and it's so vast that you could really find anything you need. And the rest, going back to the recipes, those shoots are fun because we'll film 3 or 4 in a day. Oh man, and we're stuffed, and we're eating good food.
Yeah,
we're eating good
like
food,
rich food.
Oh.
We do it in my kitchen for the most part, which is kind of fun. And so we'll shoot a whole thing, and it's everything. Like we did, I think our last shoot, our first recipe was like whitefish nigiri, which was really interesting. That was delicious. We did a macadamia nut crusted cabrilla over a truffle risotto.
Oh my God.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Okay, please stop talking.
and I've made it like
insane.
5 times.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be like every other week. Ricky will come into the office. Will be like, "I made the risotto last night."
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like, "Oh man, that was so good."
The other thing we try and focus on is something that I think is really important, is highlighting these local personalities. These people who have been in the industry longer than Ira and I have been alive and possess this knowledge, and being able to showcase, whether it's Adam Trotman or the kayak guys like I was talking about, and give them the exposure that they deserve, because they have so much to teach us. And working in the fishing industry, if you're not constantly learning new things, like, you might as well leave. This is the whole point. We're constantly adapting as our fishery does, and highlighting these local small businesses and these local personalities within that scope of work, I think is really important to me, and I think it really connects with the audience more as well.
Yeah, I mean, our goal pretty much here is to deliver the platform and the content to share this knowledge from people that are way more knowledgeable and skillful than Ricky and I, pretty much.
In a way, I kind of feel like it's serving almost two separate markets, where you have the old school forum style, to where, like, that's how, not necessarily me, but I guess the generation above me kind of grew up with the internet and all that. Everyone was just basically in the forums, either getting advice or talking crap or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have the new wave of content, that's basically gold nowadays.
Yeah.
It really is a good balance, and people are like, maybe so Ira talks about this younger generation, which is the next generation of long-term fishermen, and it's so important to have them involved, and collectively as a team, and Ira's done a really good job at spearheading this. We've put together a pro staff or an ambassador list of local fishermen and fisherwomen. And it's going to be huge. That's one of our big projects for this year, and I'll let Ira speak on it more maybe. But just integrating this younger generation into what we do, because like you were saying, collectively the forums maybe is a little bit of that older generation, which is great, and I think we can all agree on this. But we're, as a younger generation, we like, and everyone, I guess, we like to hold on to our secrets. Like,
yeah.
we're not going to go post in the forums like exactly where we went and caught this fish, right?
Yeah, there are certain things that people will never talk about.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, which is totally fine. Like, there's so many other things to discuss, and you know, if you want to talk about rigging, or if you want tips and you're a new boat owner, like, that is the perfect place for you, right? And same thing with our content. Like, we make such a vast array of helpful pieces, whether it's you know, albeit video or written pieces that can be so helpful to not only new anglers but also, you know, experienced anglers who've been doing this for decades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you have one thing that I have noticed with the younger generation too. I don't know whether it's just me or everything that I've seen, but a lot of the, I guess I'll call you guys the younger generation. A lot of you guys are very encouraging with yourselves, amongst your peer groups and all that. Whereas the old mantra, like years and years ago, maybe even a couple generations ago, where the old salty, crusty guy that just really didn't want to talk, or was really just, he saw that guy as a competitor, so that's why he wasn't going to talk. And I think it's the complete opposite nowadays, which is awesome.
I think there's a lot of encouragement, and I think that there's been a lot of community that's been built. I mean, I'm sure that it exists also in previous generations, but just like in the generation that I'm in, I generally, you know, fish and talk fishing with my peers, and so I've seen kind of the community that's built around that. And in an interesting aspect, a lot of that community has been through content, you know, and so it's like, you know, someone posting, whether it's on Instagram or something like that, you know, if they're posting a picture of their fish and then all the comments are supportive of other people sharing it to their stories and stuff like that. And I think sharing that and other people being genuinely like excited for that person is huge. You know, I think that's a really encouraging thing to see for people that want to maybe get into the fishing community or anything like that. Seeing that is something special. It's cool.
Yeah, and you know, one other thing that I'll note on the younger generation, which I've said this before in the podcast, but you know, we've all kind of grown up more so conservation minded, especially with certain species like calicos and spotties and all that stuff. We're not keeping fish like we did years and years ago, which is great. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Ira and myself, and I'm sure you guys as well, obviously working here at CCA, are huge advocates of. And it's important because we want to keep our fisheries healthy, and we're not saying don't go and kill a bunch of fish. We're saying, you know, fish responsibly. Like, I love eating fish. I'm going to, of course, harvest some fish, and the fish that I harvest, I'm going to do my best to take care of and make sure that the quality of the meat's going to be as good as it can be. But yeah, you know, just fishing with that mindset of, you know, I'm going to go out and I'm not going to keep a single fish today, especially if you're spotty fishing or bass fishing. You know, those things grow so slowly, and it's important to you know, manage the health of those fisheries.
Yeah, I think Ricky brought up a really important point. You know, I think a lot of people when they hear conservation, they might think, okay, catch and release only, and that's not necessarily it, but it's being very intentional with the fish that you do take home, and ensuring that when you do choose to like take that fish home, that you're preserving the quality of the meat, using as much of that fish as you can. So just being very responsible in that. And so, you know, if you know, kill a handful of, you know, 100-pound tuna, like there's no, I don't think there's like a way that you can like realistically, you know, go through that meat on your own personally. So, you know,
years.
And so like to, you know, if you're instead of, you know, say like just like bagging 3 fish or something like that, and just kind of like being haphazard with how you're dispatching them and holding them and stuff like that, instead of doing that, maybe take way more time and effort on one fish, you know, and whatever process it looks like to kill that fish, to bring it home, to utilize it, to share it, all that stuff. We were talking with Ryan Griffin the other day, and I think he's a great example of someone that puts so much effort and care into preserving the quality of that fish, and you can just see the value of that so much more over the long term. Yeah. You know, and so I think that's an important part of conservation. It's not, don't kill fish. It's like, go ahead, like kill fish, eat fish, that's great. Like I do it, everyone does it, it's fun, but be very intentional when you do that and how you responsibly do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about 2024. It's certainly promising to be an exciting year. I know we're going to collab on an event later on this year. But I know BD has a couple other tournaments and a couple other events that happen throughout the year, one of them being right here in San Diego, the Yellowtail Shootout.
Yeah, so I think this year's the 17th annual. That'll
17th?
be...
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that old?
Yeah.
Or 16th.
No, it's 17th. 17th.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's historically been on the weekend after Father's Day in June, so it'll be that same weekend. It's really incredible, especially with this wave of bluefin. It's really cool to see how many anglers are still keen to go try and target, some big yellows.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years, the winning fish, the big fish, has been over 40 pounds. Like, we have quality fish around.
Yeah, I mean, last year the winning team had 2 fish over 40.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
They caught 2 fish, but they were both over 40 pounds.
I think that was Ronnie, right?
Ronnie won the year prior.
Oh, the year prior.
Yeah, with a 40 or 42 or something like that. Proper fish. But yeah, it's really cool that we can get 100 boats and however 200 and 250 plus anglers in a room together, and all these people. Like, there is a tuna side pot jackpot that you can win. Of course, we're gonna have that. It's the middle of bluefin season.
When in Rome.
Yeah, but and most of the people will go out and fish kelps. But dude, occasionally we'll see like a 30-pounder come off a kelp.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I think, I feel like this past year we saw some really big fish come off kelp. Like, the grade was insane.
Yeah, and so it's really cool working the weigh-in stations and all that, and it's like, oh yeah, hey man, did anyone else come in with like a bigger fish? I'm like, no, I can't tell you that. You got to come tomorrow. And we have such a supportive group of sponsors who help put on that event. CCA obviously being one of them, and I mean, it just really shows that the community is so strong, because getting 100 boats, let alone 250 plus anglers to come together and go target yellowtail in the middle of June is pretty phenomenal, I think. And having only been here for the past 2 years, it's been a really fun event to work and see the community around it, see the participation. It's been a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, it's turned into one of my favorite events of the year, to where we go there, set up, and I think we run the bar for you guys and all that, all of our volunteers. And it's always a fun event, albeit a little packed inside Portuguese Hall at times.
Yeah.
But we make it work.
We make it work. It's a packed room, but it's fun like that,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so cool to see that many people come together for an event like that. I think that's really when like the fishing community shines. You see something like that, it's great.
Unbelievable raffle prizes too.
So that's the thing. Like, we try and give back, even if you don't place. There's anywhere from like 70 to 110 teams. Like, we want to make sure everyone has a chance to go home with some really rad stuff, and that's when our sponsors come in and do a really good job making sure everyone gets decked out with something at least. You're gonna go home with some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get to go fish for a day, which everyone wants to do anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're gonna go fishing, why not be able to? I think the winners won something close to like 20 grand last year.
Nice.
Yeah.
To catch a yellowtail.
Hey,
like, dude, that's huge.
I mean, you said 2 over 40 and all that. That nets you 20 grand.
Yeah, man.
That's a pretty good payout.
Oh, it's a good payout.
Yeah.
They
10
were
grand a fish?
they were in all the jackpots and
Yeah,
everything.
they did it right. They entered all the jackpots, everything, and I mean, because it's a 3-fish limit, and they won with 2 fish.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if I can speak on this, but I'm pretty sure the tuna jackpot's going up this year as well.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
and the last 2 years, somehow, I don't know how, the winning tuna has been like 30 to 40 pounds.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
wasn't this last year? Wasn't it it was like a 40-pounder?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
That's manageable.
yeah, think about it.
I mean, if someone wants to just go out and just target tuna, like, you can pretty easily.
You can clean up.
Yeah.
You can go home with a big paycheck for that too.
Yeah. So normally the weekend after Father's Day, do you know if registration's open yet on that? Or?
Registration will probably be open around PCS.
Okay.
Yeah,
so coming up.
Yeah.
Coming up. I think the beginning of March there.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be able to register, and a lot of people like to wait and see what the weather is going to be like.
Sure.
But get in while you can, and no, it'll be a ton of fun this year. We're looking forward to it.
Nice. And then along with the Yellowtail Shootout, there's got to be other events, right? Or am I missing it?
We'll be at PCS.
PCS, yeah. All the shows.
Yeah, Ira
Yeah, I mean, spotty tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so
Let's jump into that.
I'd like Tonie to speak on that one. She's been putting in a lot of the legwork with our other coworker, Nate Winicki. May 11th, right?
May 11th.
Winicki.
Yeah, May 11th. This is something that I'm really excited about. You know, I had talked to Chris. I talked to you about it. I don't know when, or either earlier this year or towards the end of last year, and I said, you know, I wish we can have some kind of event, you know, because a lot of what we've talked about today has been about the fishing community and being inclusive, and now we're seeing that younger generation. So, you know, at least for CCA, from my experience and what I've seen, you know, there's a lot of events tailored to that older adult demographic. You know, I wanted something that can really be inclusive of the kids that walk the docks and that work on the boats and love our inshore fishery. And I feel like that has grown exponentially over the last couple years. So, you know, I talked to Chris and I said, I really want their, you know, I don't know how, but I want to pull off some kind of spotty bay bass tournament. I'll figure it out. I don't know how, but I'm going to figure it out. And then when I was filming a BD Outdoors Sport Boat Roundup video, I was talking to Ricky about it. And you had come up with something very similar. So both of our ideas were in alignment, and I think it was just the perfect mix of bandwidth and can we do it, and people that really want to pull this off. So we have a tournament. It is set at Dana Landing May 11th, and it'll be predominantly a bay bass tournament. So your biggest spotties. We'll have a kayak, a shore, a boat division. We're working on the website, or working on that right now, so we're still finalizing a couple of the little details, but we have some awesome sponsors already, and this is just a couple months away. So we'll have a really awesome day. We're going to have a barbecue after, we'll have some fun prizes, some specialized trophies, going to try and do a little fishy / sport boat esque trivia. We'll have a prize for that. So it'll just be an all-inclusive, just community day for all ages, but primarily focusing on that younger demographic that's coming up right now.
Man, I'm so stoked for it. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. Me and my buddies are gonna fish it for sure. I don't know. I've never fished like a proper tournament before, but for some reason this year we're gonna do like 4 of them. Like me and my buddies decided we're just like, this year we're gonna fish like bay bass tournaments.
Okay.
And calico tournaments and all that. But
So you guys will be at Coastal Social?
yes, we will.
Both of them?
Nice.
Yeah.
Gotta ask, what about Star?
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it all.
Cool. I know.
Perfect. I don't know what it is, but I feel like this year is like the year of inshore tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know there were a handful before, but I've just seen so many new ones, which I think is so cool, and I think a lot more people are like motivated to kind of get involved with that, which I think is great.
Yeah, I mean, the way that, you know, for CCA, or from the CCA side, our tournaments are super, I'll call them lax or relaxed, where it's like we don't do cash prizes, so you're going to win prizes and everything goes just CCA anyway and all that. And it's really it's just about fun. It's not like a tournament circuit to where you're racking up cash or you need to go fish for cash or whatever. It's always fun. Coastal Social being designed for that reason, an offshoot of our prior tournaments, but they're super chill.
Yeah, and I think you need a good balance of that, because you can have super serious tournaments with big cash prizes and stuff, but like Tonie was saying, you know, like Yellowtail Shootout, being inclusive of this, like, dude, if I was a 16-year-old and I already love fishing spotted bay bass and I have the potential to go win a bunch of like really rad prizes, of course I'm going to go do it.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm that'll be what, first annual.
First
annual.
Yeah, I'll have to slap that on the logo somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do need one rule. Nate's not allowed to fish it.
No, he doesn't qualify for anything.
Yeah. Because he'll just basically go out there and find like the largest, most meanest spotty out there and just take the cake.
Oh, Ira might argue. With
Yeah, I don't know. Let him fish. I'll beat him. I don't care.
Oh, okay. All right.
No,
Friendly competition.
Oh yeah. No, my buddy actually today is picking up my boat from Oregon. He's buying it, bringing it down. So we're gonna be all kitted out this year.
No kidding.
Yeah. So we're gonna give a proper shot at all the coastal socials and all that. Like, we'll see what happens.
Hell yeah, I like it. Yeah, you know, I think Tonie, you're absolutely right. To where, you know, I think it was late last year. You came to me, you wanted to invent. I'm like, perfect, go do it. It's awesome. And you know, it's something that we've been meaning to do, wanting to do, just with our bandwidth issues and all that. We just haven't been able to do it. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm really passionate about bringing something like this to the table, and of course having Ricky's help and Ira's help. Like it helps having people in the industry that are like-minded, that want to achieve the same goals, and it just goes hand in hand, and you know, we're able to make something potentially really successful. So I'm super stoked. I'm in the process of getting a lot of those little details kind of put together, but hopefully in the next couple weeks, maybe next month or so, we'll have everything kind of put in place. Yeah, we'll be advocating for it, showcase it at some of the shows if you guys are going to be there. So it'll be out there. It'll be up.
Ideally, if you're at PCS, we'll have maybe like some QR codes. You can just come by the CCA booth or the BD booth and sign up. It's not going to be a big barrier to entry. I think it's going to be like maybe a $15 sign up fee.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very minimal.
yeah, just let's have some fun.
Yeah, and it's a natural partnership between BD and CCA and all that. And Ricky, I got to ask, when Tonie went to you with that idea and all that, did you have something very similar in mind, more or less?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it was just a natural fit.
Yeah, again with the issues of just like manpower, you know, we think it's important to do these community events, whether it's like trivia at a brewery or a film premiere, you know, something like that, and then just figuring out a way to build community. And so I was like, oh yeah, you know, I've been thinking about, you know, trying to put together a Spotty tournament. She goes, no way, like me too. And yeah, so it worked out perfectly, and now, you know, with double the help, you know, we finally were able to put something together, and watching it come to fruition is pretty cool.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I got to ask, Ira. So your friend is picking up your boat right now.
Yeah.
You didn't want to just wait maybe a couple minutes and win ours?
You know, so yeah, I'm looking at that boat right now, and I'm like, well, so my buddy's buying my boat, which is a 19-foot center console.
Okay.
But it's definitely more of like inside the break wall type of boat.
Oh, okay.
It's has quite a flat bottom, so I'm sure on a nice day we'll send it out. But yeah, I was looking at that boat, and so I'm like, well, now that I don't have a boat,
Oh, yeah.
maybe I'll try to win that this year.
Yeah, I mean it's badass. I mean, we saw it for the first time in Long Beach last week.
Yeah, it's West Coast Marine.
West Coast
Yeah.
Marine,
Yeah.
with a 150 horsepower Yamaha on the back too. So plenty of
With
power.
the trailer.
With the trailer.
Is it it's a 19 or 20 foot Parker?
18.
18 with a 150?
Yep.
That thing's gonna fly.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Tonie, what was your impression? I was really impressed.
Oh, it made me bummed I can't participate.
Yeah.
The Star Tournament is so rad because all of these people we love fishing anyways. And what is it, a $40 entry fee?
$40 entry fee.
You pay $40, you're going to be fishing all summer anyways. Why not enter and have a chance to win rad prizes, let alone a friggin' boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So-
the weekly prizes on top of the additional. So I think we're working on social media prizes on top of that. Like, there's so many opportunities to have these really awesome prizes just for getting a qualifying length halibut or
Yeah.
spotted bass. you
So
know?
if you get one of these qualifying fish, that like gives you an entry
Yeah.
into weekly prizes, grand prizes, all that. And so for every qualifying fish, you get another entry. It doesn't matter kind of the size as long as it's over that qualifying
Yep.
length.
Yep. The only limitation is you're limited to 2 entries per category per day. So 2 bass or 2 halibut, 2 yellowtail, 2 bluefin in a single day. That's your limit.
That's a good day.
Yeah.
That's a good day of
No
fishing
kidding.
right there.
Every single content day that Ricky and I will be out fishing bluefin, we'll be entering fish.
Yeah.
Okay, make sure we have our
Your measuring devices.
Our measuring devices.
Yeah. And most people actually came up to us during the show, the last show, and actually appreciated that. Where it's not going to be the biggest bluefin or the biggest
Yeah.
fish or
I
biggest
like
length.
that.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a bass is going up against a bluefin and vice versa.
That's so
and
rad.
all
No,
that.
you guys have done a really good job putting this whole thing together.
No, we're trying, man.
Yeah.
We're trying.
Yeah.
It's
And Go ahead.
No, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I'm looking forward to Star. I'm looking forward to the Spotty tournament. Let's bring up. Let's talk a little bit of fishing. Ira, we'll start with you. If you could basically pick your trip or go off on your, on any trip that exists, what would you go after? Where would you go? What breads your butter?
Oh man, anything?
Anything.
Oh, I think GT's, Great Barrier Reef, Australia.
Have you been there?
No, I just really want to. I think that would be so cool.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
Like I've always, every day in the office it seems that we're talking about like the crazy size and style of fishing in Australia and New Zealand, like 100-pound kingfish, insane sword fishing, GTs, like the fishery they have over there. At least from an outside perspective, looks like it's insane. I'm sure it's a lot more challenging because I'm sure if someone, from outside looked into our fishery, they'd be like, oh, wow, catching a 100-pound bluefin must be so easy.
It's social media. Right?
Yeah,
Everything looks easy
so
on
I'm
social
sure
media.
it's much more challenging there. But I think, going over and fishing that part of the world is definitely a bucket list trip for me. So I'd love to go Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, all of that. I've been dying to kind of figure out what's happening over there and stuff. And if we could figure out a way to wrap up some content in it and something like that, get an excuse to go over there for work, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, just talk to Ali.
I'll say, if you have extra plane ticket or two, let's go over there. Yeah, but that'd probably be the bucket list fish. I think just the style of fishing they're doing, just on those reefs, throwing like big stick baits with like lock drags, really aggressive fish, clear water, like a lot of the content that we've shared on our socials that we see over there. It doesn't matter what type of fisherman you are. If you see someone fishing like a GT from a paddleboard in crystal clear water, throwing a stick bait and it eats it like 5 feet away from you, we've seen some just mental clips that we're so stoked on. And so I think having an opportunity to experience that'd be a bucket list. It's unreal.
Oh, okay.
There's your warm water fishery.
Yeah,
over there.
Yeah, I don't know if San Diego's a warm water.
Yeah. When I was thinking that, I don't know why I thought that, but mainly the thought was just warmer than Oregon, because Oregon saltwater fishing is cold.
Yeah.
What is sorry?
No, go for it.
Yeah.
What is like Oregon saltwater fishing?
So Oregon saltwater is really interesting. Pretty much, so there's a ton of albacore.
Yeah, the tuna.
The tuna is interesting. I've done it a couple times. In my first time going out there, I was kind of shocked. You go for 30 miles and you're in green, brown, dirty water, and then you hit a line and it looks like you could be in Baja or anything like that, but it's in Oregon, which is kind of wild. And so the first time I went out there was my first time tuna fishing, and I didn't realize at the time it was wide open. We were fishing pretty much 40-pound fly line, anchovies,
stupid fishing.
Stupid fishing. There's no limit, at least at the time. No, so we just kind of like stuffed the boat. We stuffed the boat with all we could. So yeah, the albacore was really interesting. So that was my first kind of taste at tuna fishing up there, which is interesting. But generally, the hard thing is the weather. Mm-hmm. You really have maybe like 5 days a month to fish, at least from what I've experienced. So you have to time it right. But if you can get out there, it can be incredible fishing, which I was fortunate enough when I went out, I was able to have some fun fishing. But as far as outside of tuna up there, rockfish, lingcod, big surf perch, there's some really interesting shallow water lingcod fishing that I want to go up and kind of try to figure that out. Not many people do it because I think a lot of people just go out to 100, 200, drop jigs, big swim baits, stuff like that. I've seen some interesting photos of lingcod on jerk baits, on spinner baits. Oh. So I'm probably blowing, if anyone's up there and listening to this, I'm probably blowing up your fishery. Yeah. But I've seen a couple photos of like lingcod in sub 20 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Which would be cool. I think I caught one in like 25 feet of water, but I was like bouncing a swim bait. But I've seen some stuff in Oregon in like fishing from the jetties and catching them, which shore-based lingcod could be cool.
That's pretty impressive.
So that's something I'd like to go try up. Kind of, I think it's in like Southern Oregon. I'm totally blowing it up now. But there's some fisheries up there that could be cool.
Has moving to San Diego kind of blown up your perspective as to, oh my gosh, I had this in my backyard for years?
Oh, my whole kind of evolution in fishing coming to San Diego, I have so much to be grateful for. It's been incredible. I mean, I went from 2019 coming down here, I'd only caught, 15, 20 pound albacore before this. And then within...
Only.
Yeah. Well, with Oregon, I like that's what we had as far as tuna go. And so I came down here and, within four and a half, coming up on 5 years now of being here, I've caught so many fish that I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to chase. So like a lot through BD, this past season, I think I caught a handful of bluefin, like 100 to 200, which has just been incredible. And like that's still just being the cameraman and still having the opportunity to do that. So like I get to pull on a fish after we've shot our content. And so having that opportunity has been incredible.
Yeah. I say that because kind of tongue in cheek to where, albacore, you guys have all heard it to where, oh, when are the albacore coming back? When are they coming back? And every year people make their predictions, but they never seem to come back.
I don't understand the fascination with albacore. maybe I'm naive, but like it's cool when that's what you have. Mm-hmm. But I think 9 times out of 10, I'd rather catch a triple digit fish rather than a 20 pound fish. That's just me though.
I think it's nostalgia. It's been gone for so long. People just want it back. And once it comes back, then everyone's going to do the same thing for bluefin.
Yeah, 100%.
It's probably just a consistent grass is greener complex of, well, we did have that.
Yeah,
we want that again. But I just experienced, coming from like an outside perspective, coming down here and seeing the bluefin fishery has been incredible. Yeah. And being able to film it has been really cool. Being able, because it's, aside from taking expensive camera gear out into saltwater.
We won't talk about that.
We won't talk about that. It's rough. But I mean, having foaming bluefin, it's one of the most incredible natural like fishing things you can see, and being able to film that. I think any fisherman that also has a passion of filmmaking, of photography, of videography, that's an incredible thing to be able to shoot.
Yeah, that's unreal. Ricky, what about you, man? If you can pick one fishery to go after.
I think I have 2 different answers for the sole reason of one, there's one fishery that I've experienced that is just an all-time favorite, and 2, there's like a bucket list trip.
Yeah, tell us both.
Similarly to Ira, my bucket list is on the other side of the world. I'd love to go target kingfish in New Zealand or Australia. Just seeing like 80-pound yellowtail baffles me. I love yellowtail, and I think an 80-pound yellowtail would probably pull harder than an 80-pound bluefin.
I was going to say,
in my opinion.
I mean, a kingfish is very, I guess it's similar and all that, but it must fight the same way.
Yeah, I don't know the scientific differences, but I've heard stories of they fish them in the shallows sometimes, and they'll be fishing them with like 50 wides with a lockdown drag, and you can't stop them. Like, you can't turn the thing's head.
Oh my gosh.
That's incredible. Yeah, and like we talk about those fish like at least a couple times a week in the office. Those fish live rent free in our head.
I mean, seeing pictures of these guys like bear hugging, like big dudes.
Oh yeah.
Bear hugging a like 90-pounder, just barely able to hold on to it. That's the dream. That is on the top of my bucket list for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, any day of the week you want to go kite fishing for big bluefin, I'm down. I definitely consider myself a tuna junkie. But the fishery that they have in Baja, in the skinny water for grouper, is the most fun fishing that I think I've done. And I think maybe partly because I only do it maybe like once or twice a year. But targeting fish that you have to fish a lockdown drag, 80-pound, potentially like a steel leader, and just getting your ass whooped and being able to catch like on a good day, on a really good day, like 70 of those things, and you're just wiped. Like, there's clips of me where I'm just laying down on the deck of the boat, like, God, my back hurts, my arm hurts. And not to mention they're delicious, and that's another fishery, like, we always talk about, oh, what do you think like the Coronado Islands would be like if they were not so pressured, and I think we get a little taste of that as you go deeper and into these more secluded areas, and witnessing what their fisheries are like is just kind of mind blowing, you know, and I love those fish. Those leopard grouper are just, I think, probably my favorite all around fish to target.
I know, like, the last couple of years, I don't know whether it was last year or the year prior to that, but, you know, the BD team has actually put out content or short films on those kind of trips to where you're driving down Baja, going either to, you know, San Felipe or wherever. And one of them, I think, with our good friend Benny Florentino a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so we did a shoot with Benny, Calico to Cabrera. You know, naturally, Benny is, you know, a calico guide. And he has that fishery so dialed in, and he talks about, you know, in the film, go watch it. It's on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
He talks about the similarities, but he explains the Cabrera as a calico on steroids, which they really are. I mean, the tails on those things are so broad, and they're so freaking strong. And he talks about why, you know, he has a desire, as he gets to fish calico bass every day, you know, as much as he wants up here, and he still has that desire to go chase that fish. Like, that's how big of a draw that fish has, because it's such an impressive. And to be honest, the fishing we had on that shoot was not great. I'd love to go back and document like a wide open day, but we managed, and I think we had one good afternoon. It was blowing like 25 knots, and we were fishing. I think he has like spot lock. And this one stretch of beach was just loaded. I think we caught like 40 Cabrera.
Oh my gosh.
And granted, none of them were huge, but even like a 4-pound Cabrera is gonna put up a damn good fight.
Yeah.
And so we've done some trips like that. We did a trip up to Vancouver. That's called Escape North. We did kind of like a surf fish combo trip.
Which, if anybody is listening has not seen that should be the first thing that people do. It's such a beautifully illustrated video.
Yeah, so Matt with Rare Breed Films did an excellent job, and that was just an incredible trip to have experienced. You know, we were in the middle of absolutely nowhere. The fishery kind of sounds similar to, you know, the Pacific Northwest. You have your salmon, your lingcod, your halibut, and everything just kind of came together perfectly on that trip. You know, our first, we literally landed on the float plane, got on the boat, went out and caught like a 70-pound halibut. You can't ask for a better start, you know? And then we had, you know, not great surfing. The waves were okay. And then just the fishing and the camaraderie and the guys we were spending time with, Raph Breweiler and Kelly with Charter Tofino. Just amazing people. I'm actually going back in June.
Nice.
Like, I need another taste of that, because we don't get to fish salmon down here. And I think it's important, you know, especially as we get older, and like, I'll never take for granted what we have here, but I think it's so important to go out and travel and explore these different places. Like our bucket list trips, for instance, are in entirely different countries, because it's just a new experience and a different fishery. And I'd love to hear your guys's, but I'm sure it's, you know, similar, like maybe a fishery that you haven't done or something that looks really, really, you know, just kind of a blast to go fish.
Oh, man. Tonie, you go first. I need time to think on mine.
Well, so that Pacific Northwest video you guys did, like, it brought me back to when I was working in Alaska, because that was the fishery, you know, that was how I got introduced to sport boats specifically. And I just fell in love with how majestic the fishery is and the landscape of the Pacific Northwest, but Alaska especially. And, you know, for me, we grew up fishing for salmon and fly fishing and flossing on the river. And I was never really good at fly fishing, but it was just the novelty of doing it was some that I was allured by. So for me, I think fishing for salmon especially will always have a place in my heart. And there's so much fun on light line, like 9-foot skinny little rods. Like, it's so much fun. And I know Chad gives me a hard time about it all the time. Sorry, Chad, but I love the whole fishery up there. But and it's funny, because working on boats down here, I would tell people I worked on sport boats in Alaska, and they're like, I've never fished Alaska. I want to go up there. I'm like, well, you know, it's funny, like the juxtaposition of people in Alaska wanting to fish down here, and then you come down here and people want to fish up there. So it was kind of neat for me to have kind of both both sides of the spectrum there. But yeah, I can't take for granted the fishery that we have off our coast. It's truly magical and breathtaking, and like Ira was saying, you know, to witness something just raw nature, bluefin foaming all around the boat, like there's nothing like that I can think of. There's no experience that comes close to something like that. So the fact that we have it here and we appreciate it and we want it to last for generations, I think is something really special, and something that this younger generation is really focused on, I think, as well, whether they know it or not. But as far as, you know, bucket listing, I've always wanted to catch a rooster. I want to catch it in the surf, you know, after the show and watching Wes's videos. And I just think they're so cool. Yeah. Like, I just want like a 40-pounder. That's it. You know, not totally doable. Yeah. But I think to catch them in the surf would be just such a rad experience.
Such
and
a
to be somewhere, they're so cool. But I want to fish somewhere warm where I'm not head to toe in bibs and it's raining and it's cold. I want to be warm, tropical fishing. That's just ideal for me.
Wes has such a cool operation in Cabo, fishing all the surf stuff. It's really, I did it with him in March.
Okay.
And it was really fun. I was just down there for spring break well, as in senior year. Nice. It was kind of fun. But I was like, I definitely wanted to pick out a day with him. So I'd love to go back down there. I think seeing a lot of the videos he's been posting recently, he's been catching Dorado out of the surf, roosterfish. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go after billfish.
Yeah, that's a big goal of his.
Yeah.
Another thing they do in Australia, like every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so my answers are going to be a little weird. So I think a bucket list trip, as much as kingfish in Australia and New Zealand sound amazing, that's definitely on my list. Not at the top, though. I would say it's probably kind of what Tonie was saying, where I want to go up to Alaska and fish all the different species, all within even a single day or whatnot. Never have, I think I've caught one salmon in my life, but always I want to do that. I want to do the barn door halibut, want to do the lingcod, all that stuff. So that's the bucket list. My other, like my current, I guess, my favorite fishery that technically I have not done yet, but I know I'm going to love it absolutely, is the cabrilla fishing down in Baja. Never fished it before. I'm going this year. I know that's going to go right up to the top, so I'm just claiming it right now. That's going to be my favorite fishing, just in Baja in general, because some of it's untouched. A lot of it, you know, some of it is. But if you go, at least on the Sea Cortez side and all that, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
And that's another reason. Like, yes, we go to Baja to fish, but the people down there are some of the nicest people you ever meet. They're incredibly hospitable. And just the vast amount of nothing that's there is incredible, and it's all beautiful. Like giant cliffs, you know, leading directly into the ocean, and just, you know, desert, obviously. And there's these little towns scattered up and down the coast, and there's so much opportunity to explore. Like, yes, there are these destinations that people go to, but really, you know, you can experience phenomenal fishing anywhere in Baja and Mexico, obviously. But that's another one of the huge draws, is just the beauty of it. Like, the road trip down there is one of the most fun parts.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask, have you made that trip before?
Yeah. We drive down. I fished Loreto last year. We flew down to Loreto. But if it's like less than a 10-hour drive, and I know people who have driven all the way down to Cabo, but it's, how was that?
Oh, brutal, but it was worth it.
Yeah, exactly, right. And yes, there's boring parts where you're just going to be sleeping, but the drive is really not bad. It's just a straight shot all the way down, and you have all your stuff in order, you're going to be fine. Yeah. You know, just be aware of what's going on, and be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in a foreign, it's their country, and you know, want to respect it as much as we can.
Absolutely. One more from me. You know, we've talked a lot about content today, and you know, you guys are pretty good, if not amazing at it, at producing it right now. But as far as going forward, the future of content, what do you guys see? What's going to happen? The new trends happening? Maybe not this year or next year, but like coming in the future. What do you guys kind of see the direction of going in terms of content?
I'll let Ira speak on this one because I know he's definitely got some opinions about it. The takeover of the vertical video is cool, but hopefully we can get back to like the cinematic, horizontal format. It presents so much nicer, and one of the huge things that we discuss all the time is, people love to consume that short form content, whether it's because, our attention spans are shorter now or whatever the reason. That's kind of the trends you have to keep up with in the industry. But I think if we had it our way, we'd be shooting like short films that could live on YouTube, that not YouTube shorts, not Instagram reels, just, really well put together pieces like we do with Rare Breed, And we have a couple of those projects in the works this year. We have some really, really, really fun feature films that we're going to be producing. We're going to have some down the line, maybe towards the end of the year in like Q4. We're going to be doing another film premiere. I don't know. You were at the Lucky Bee film premiere. I don't know. Were you there? Yeah. So it's just cool to get the community. Again, it's another community thing where we get to premiere, something that we put so many hours, days of our time into, and just to see, the reception of that, I think is really, it's beautiful. You put so much work into something and you dedicate so much time to it. It's nice to see, that come to life. But yeah, I think I'll let Ira go now. But
no, I think those film premieres are so cool, and the evolution of content that we've seen over the past couple of years is interesting. I think we hear all the time, and even we talk about it a lot. That people's attention spans are shorter, and so we're making a lot more short form content because it's much more digestible. But I was reading actually about this last night, and I saw an interesting quote, and it said that it's not that people's attention spans are shorter, but their standards are higher. And so in an interesting way, content and short form content, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube has revealed this, the access and the options that people have has increased. For a while, it was like you go on YouTube and you have to pick some, any video that's say, most videos 4 to 12 minutes long. Well, now there's these options for these short forms. So people's options have increased. And so your content has to be that much better to hold their attention. Think about it. Plenty of people will go on Netflix and binge shows for 9-10 hours. So it's not that their attention span has gotten shorter, but their standard for what they need to stay engaged has gotten higher. So I think sometimes if long form content is produced and it doesn't see the adoption or the engagements that we want, instead of saying, people's attention spans are shorter, it's like maybe our stuff is just boring. Maybe we need to increase our standards. Maybe we need to increase at a higher level, focus on our storytelling, because people are consuming content. They're consuming a lot of content. They're consuming a lot of TikTok. They're consuming a lot of Netflix. So it's not necessarily the length, it's the level of entertainment because people's options are there. And so I think my personal focus going forward is to, I'm a sucker for like high produced stuff and like really beautiful visuals. But, at the end of the day, if you're shooting something that isn't incredibly interesting, it might look good, but it's not going to hold someone's attention. So my focus, I think, really is shifting towards capturing the moments and the storytelling that keeps people engaged. It's the stuff, because they have so many options, you have to give them value, and so I'm all for high produced, good looking stuff. I personally enjoy that. And I think other people that work in content, create content, enjoy that type of stuff. But really, when it comes down to it, audiences want value, they want entertainment, education. And so you have to focus on the content of the content you're producing, for lack of a better term. What's the message? What's the meaning? What's the value? If you can deliver on that, people will stay engaged. And so I think the longer form stuff, the kind of say, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's still short form, but like 8 to 12 to 15 minutes, kind of that range is a really nice digestible amount to tell a story. Because it's hard, but it's hard to tell a story in 30 seconds. You can do it. Yeah. But I think in those, you can tell a much more in-depth story in that 8 to 12 minute range. And so I think that would be that's an area that I'd like to expand more into and focus more on. And it's ensuring that the value is there because people will consume it if there's value.
And that's about the length of all your short films too, as well.
They all kind of live in that like 10 to 14 minute range, which I think is great. And so I think for us, it's just making sure that the stories we're telling are worth listening to.
Yeah, and I think Ira put it great, and one of the other things that we've been implementing over the past year is trying to keep stuff as organic as possible. I think nowadays people can see straight through, a sales ad. You're just going to skip that. You're not going to watch it.
Yeah.
And so keeping content as organic as possible is incredibly important as far as keeping people engaged, right? We'd rather show like a day of fishing, and hey, like we happen to, be fishing with our favorite reels, but we're not focusing that entire film around like product shots of the reel. It's literally just us fishing, and on a good day of fishing you might have a banger day where you go out and catch like 6 cows, and people want to watch that. 100% people are going to watch that, but you got to present it in a way where someone is going to watch past the first 30 seconds, and this is something that Ira can speak to. You have to deliver value immediately. Otherwise, people are just going to keep scrolling or click on to the next video.
I feel like we can spend a whole podcast just talking about that stuff too.
Absolutely.
That is what we spend a lot of our time doing at work. It's figuring out how do we deliver that value, because in a way we're delivering value on two ends of it. We're doing to both our audience and the general public, whoever we're producing content to consume, but then also on our own personal side, both growing our brand and then also our clients, highlighting different products that we believe in and stuff like that we're willing to put our name behind. I think a great example, everyone can pretty much universally agree that Yeti is the king of this. They produce content at such an incredibly high level, but they deliver an incredible amount of value with it. The stories they tell are really engaging, and they're cool. And so, but if you watch the videos, you can probably count on one hand how many times you see a Yeti product. And it could be a 20-minute video, and you're going to see a Yeti product 5 to 10 times. But so one of their videos, it's like 10 years old at this point. It's called Cosmo, and it's about Cosmo Lido. It's like an atoll off the coast of Madagascar. It looks like an incredible fishery, but I think I watched it. I've watched it through probably like 20 times now. And the last time I watched it through, I counted how many times I saw a Yeti product. And you see a couple, but it's for being like a branded piece. It's very little. There's product placement, but it's very little.
And it's focused around a personality and a story, and
it's storytelling.
It's phenomenal storytelling. Yeah, they do an incredible job. And going back to just producing content, even a reel that's going to live on Instagram, let alone like a 3-minute video that's going to go on YouTube and our website. People don't realize from start to finish the amount of work that goes into it. Like, yes, you have to plan ahead, figure out, your shot list and what we need to showcase, how do we want to present this stuff, and then realizing how much time goes in post. Like for those feature films, it's countless hours, and for
it's days of work for the feature films. For just a 15-second little reel that someone's going to see that's going to be an ad spot or something like that, probably 6 to 8 hours of work.
Jeez.
Yeah, and
for 15 to 25 seconds.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's.
I feel like I was busy. Holy crap.
Yeah, so I just finished one highlighting a boat brand. It's 27 seconds, and the editing I did all yesterday, and it was probably 4 hours of editing.
Oh my gosh.
But it's worth it at the end. Like, we're trying to put out an excellent product, right? And you have to put that time in. And I think just most people don't realize the investment that goes into creating something like that. And so, of course, we're going to put our time in and figure out, we don't want this to go out and have 2 people watch it. Like, we want the whole world to see it, right? Yeah. And putting that time in, making sure you're delivering excellence is a huge part of that. And that's where, from start to finish, ideation, production, post, like, we're a small team, but we collaborate like every step along the way, to make sure we are coming out with what we believe is the best product.
That's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. That's awesome. Well, guys, I can't believe it, but we're past an hour. This has been awesome. One more time, how do we find you guys? How do we find you on Instagram and socials and YouTube and all that good stuff?
Yeah, well, the company, obviously, beatoutdoors.com on Instagram, beatoutdoors.com on the web. We have our forum side of that, Bloody Decks. And personally, my name is Ricky Fischel, if you want to follow me on Instagram.
Nice.
Yep. Yep.
It's just a bunch of fish. It's all it is fish. Fair warning.
Yeah, it's BD Outdoors across Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, on the web, and then personally, Ira.Waldman.
Nice. One last thing. Ira, do you remember the story of how we first met?
I believe my roommate in college, his dad booked a charter with you. And my roommate was like, my dad booked this charter. He's coming in town. Do you want to go on it? Because he knew I fished a bunch. And I was like, sure, I'm down. So I believe it was out of Dana.
Yeah. Yep. Out of Dana.
That was 4 years ago?
Probably 2019, 2020 or something like that.
That was funny.
Yeah. Small world.
Gone full circle.
We really have.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
I remember, I think you're still to this day the only customer who has ever tried out slow pitch.
Oh
ever.
Yeah, I at that time I got a new slow pitch rod and I was trying to figure it out. That's an interesting deal.
Oh, that's a whole nother.
I don't know if it worked.
That's a whole
I feel
other
like I caught a sand dab on it. And I think
Probably,
that was
yeah.
That's tough.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Chris,
this is
Tonie,
awesome.
thank you for having us on. That was a lot of
This
fun.
was fun chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
We really
It's always
appreciate
fun.
it.
Yeah, for sure. I like this home and home deal where we go on your podcast, you come on ours. We'll have to keep it a tradition here.
Yeah, man.
Perfect. Awesome.
Always down to come talk fishing.
Yeah, and we'll have to have you guys back on right before the Spotty tournament. Talk a little bit about that, all the rules and all good stuff. And I'm looking forward to a great year with you guys. It's
Cool,
awesome.
man. Cheers.
Awesome.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, Tonie, fascinating episode once again. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I'm not biased or anything. These are my friends, Chris. Can't say anything bad.
Not in front of him.
Do it.
Yeah, you guys can talk crap once we leave.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us on the CCA California podcast. And we will see you guys next week. And make sure to go follow us on Instagram at CCA California. Make sure to go register for Star. It's still a epic tournament that we're going to do May 25th to September 2nd. Hopefully you guys will join that. That'd be cool. It'd be fun to at least a videography with you guys winning the pucker. But we'll see. It seems like Ira's got that locked down, though.
I'm going to give it my best shot.
All you can do is try.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks again for joining us, and we will see you guys next week. Take care.